Well, this was the beginning steps of an ordinance on cell towers that the city does not currently have. And what we did tonight was pass a recommendation to the city council. Now the city council will take it back and they'll determine whether or not it's going to become an actual ordinance or not. Do we have any public comment? No public comment. We don't have a consent agenda tonight, so we'll go right into our public hearing. This is a continuation of the public hearing of August 4th, 2015 to review the zoning ordinance amendment ZOA 2015-01 for wireless regulations. We have the public hearing is called for, and we'll start with staff.
I will just like to introduce our contract planner, Gary Price. He'll be giving the presentation tonight.
Good evening, members. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. The city currently does not have any regulations that address large cellular transmission facilities. There's been some recent changes in legislation regarding regulation, and it's felt that with the number of recent applications that we've been receiving, it's time to establish some regulations. So what you have before you, and I believe that you had at your last meeting, open the public hearing, continue to this meeting for further opportunity for public comment, is a set of comprehensive ordinance that not only includes the wireless facilities on private lands, but also regulates them on public right-of-ways. So basically, applications will be reviewed by the planning department and approved by smaller facilities by the director, and larger through a similar process that we have established, which would be through a use permit with the planning commission vis-a-vis the public hearing. So I believe you've had a good opportunity to review them, and at the last meeting there was no public comment. We still have not received any public comment. However, during the last review, the commission requested some future use permits for the larger cell towers, include some additional information on alternative locations, identification of cell tower locations in terms of concentrations. There's also some concerns noted about access, which was excellent. That's something that I completely missed, so really applaud the commission for bringing that up. So particularly the impact these facilities have in terms of getting equipment back and forth and maintenance on the city's some of the dirt roads in the more rural areas of the city. So what we did was we made some changes to the previous draft regulations that you have. One is requiring in the due checklist that you have in your package a new access plan information, and also we've added some access mitigation into the ordinance. It requires an encroachment permit, and also requires financial assurances that the city guarantees, that they guarantee the city that the access roads are maintained during construction and through maintenance. So hopefully that addresses the Commission's previous comments. In addition, I think while I wasn't here, one of the commissioners, and we talked about this during the previous meeting, about the need for building setback criteria for cell towers, basically that they should be the actual equivalent height of the tower for public safety purposes. And our state attorney did chime in on that and indicated that there was a concern about complete preclusion of wireless in the city by putting potentially excessive setbacks. So we would recommend that the commission, as you have done in the past, review projects on a case-by-case basis, apply the setback criteria you think is appropriate, and it gives the cell applicant opportunity to look at that and see if that's reasonable. And then we really want to review the potentially setbacks as we go through the next zoning code update. As we'll be looking at that and other examples. I think Lake County has a setback requirement. And we can look at that as part of the overall zoning code update. But I think we do need to have the city attorneys chime in on that, and there's some caution about that. Relative to the project's environmental impacts, it is subject to the California Environmental Quality Acts as well. However, we've taken the approach that because these are required regulations anyway, they will not have an impact on the environment. So we would recommend, as part of the action on the amended zoning code, that this would be basically considered a general rule exemption. It gives the city latitude for determining when certainly there are no possible significant impacts on the environment with adoption of the regulations. So we would recommend that you open the public hearing, take further comments from the public. Maybe, I think there's a couple folks out there, great. And adopt resolution PC 2015-06, recommending to the council adoption of the zoning code ordinance as noted in attachment A. And that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions from the commission at this time.
Just to add one little thing, we did circulate this to the cellular wireless industry and didn't get any comment back.
That's scary.
Did we miss some?
Any questions from the commissioners?
Thank you. The supplemental checklist for wireless communications facilities, item number 11, it says copy of the applicant's current FCC license, the name, address, emergency telephone number of for the operator. How about the operator and the backup? You know, because we're planning on coming into an El Nino year. I mean, does that include a backup for contact information in case?
Which section are we? I'm sorry.
I am in
You're right ahead of me on this one.
item 4, supplemental checklist.
Okay, page 11.
Page number 4, item number. Yep. I'm not on now. Page 3, sorry. Oops. Page 3, item number 11.
It's in the checklist.
Oh, item number 11. Sorry about that. Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, so you will add something to the effect of whoever the backup is,
Right,
or backup operator?
right, because if we can't get a hold of the primary, you know.
Okay, that's easily done.
Yes.
No.
But essentially just a secondary phone number to call.
Thank you, yes. Not planning on having cell towers come down their problems with them, but you know, if something does happen.
If you go back into the first section, Planning Commission staff report, under environmental review, on page 3, first paragraph, I think it's the second sentence, it reads, this is a general rule exemption that gives the city latitude for determining exemption status when, quote, with certainty, there is no possibility that the activity may have a significant effect on the environment. That's a pretty broad statement with certainty. How does the planning director interpret that?
Well, I think we would interpret this as it's a set of regulations that really intended to regulate the potential environmental impacts of a project. So, and also it addresses that there's already federal regulations in place that all we're doing is basically applying those regulations here, adopting them as a local ordinance. So we don't see that as creating a potential impact on the environment. However, the Planning Commission feels, or anybody else feels contrary to that, we can go back and do an environmental review of the initial study, go through the biological review. I think there's about a $3,000 fee that we have to pay for the fish and game. It takes about another 60 to 90 days to do that. We can do that, but we don't see the value of doing that because we don't see that this results in that.
I wasn't trying to get it done that way. I'm just questioning whether or not the
term "with certainty" is specific enough for the director to be able to make the decisions that we're trying to accomplish by getting all this on paper. Maybe they can.
Well, I think I'm hearing a couple things from you, Carl. I'm hearing the adoption of this set of regulations is not going to result in, with certainty, an adverse impact on the environment. Now, every project that comes through, we have to still go through and do a complete environmental review. And it's actually much more thorough than what we're doing here. So when Julie reviewed the last cell tower ordinance, or cell tower application, she actually went through an initial study, did the due diligence of CEQA, and determined it would not. When she reviews a minor project, she'd be doing the same thing. I think that answers your question? Yeah.
Okay. And on Exhibit A of the wireless regulations, page 9, there's a title, section 108A.
So page 9, 8, section 108A.
Yeah. Under section A, next to the last line, it says, "and all basis stations." It should be base stations.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
And I have one more on section 8.8-115 on appeals. Next to the last line, it says all appeals must include writing reasons for the appeal. I think it should be written reasons.
Sorry, Carl. You know, we need to turn Carl's mic up.
Actually, I think if he just pulls it a little closer to himself.
Is that better now?
Yeah, thank you, Carl.
Okay. Okay.
115.
118, or excuse me, 115 appeals.
Okay.
Next to the last line, it says all appeals must include writing reasons for the appeal. I think that word should be written.
Great.
Just to,
No, that's,
and then I have one other issue. Section 4, the supplemental checklist. It talks about that.
okay, section 4.
Number 4, and you're talking about visually sensitive areas, putting up a boom or a balloon. If you can do a balloon, if it's going to have any value, it's going to have to be a large balloon, 24 inches in diameter, maybe, or something there, where not something that's an 8 inch. I'll give you an idea of how the view is going to be affected.
Minimum 24.
I pulled that figure out of the air, but something on that.
Visually prevalent, how's that for visually prevalent?
Yeah.
Visually prevalent. Okay.
Okay, same page, next item down, number 5.
Okay.
It's written documentation that is licensed by the Federal Communications. I think that's written documentation that the applicant is licensed by the Federal Communications Commission.
Yeah.
Perfect. Got it.
I think that covered the areas that I had concerns with.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Either commissioners have anything? Go ahead.
I did also a couple, just some editorial things on, let's see, Exhibit A, the ordinance, page 4, under excavation, it looks like it's a different font.
Yeah.
And then right below that, permit holder and radio box, I'm not sure if you wanted that all bolded.
No, it shouldn't be.
Okay. And then
Great.
page 12, also in the ordinance,
Okay.
the sections, if you're following the same format as page 3, then they should be underlined and capitalized.
Oh, the one that's underlined?
Yeah, section 3, 4, and 5. Page 12. You see that?
The font's different?
Which is, if you go to page 3 and you have the section 1, section 2, it's underlined
yeah.
in caps. I believe this is where you continue to section 345 after the discussion.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
And,
See sections.
and I think I had on the,
Got it.
and then on the supplemental checklist, yeah, Carl made those notes, and then also on page 2, number 4, I guess the spacing might have been a justification. And see how it says, like on the right side, it's including at a, and then there's block space minimum. When you go the next couple lines, it seems like there's a greater space there, so it might be some justification with that, yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Anything else?
Oh, 8D too.
What's that?
8D on the same page, page 2.
8D, okay.
Yeah. Looks like there's a spacing there too.
Spacing's messed up, huh?
You know it's well written when else people find their font and spacing and typos.
Got it.
Thanks.
Okay. Open this up for public comment now. Anybody can please come to the podium and state your name and city.
Good evening, Akila Makowski, City of Clearlake. I haven't been to the other meetings. I wasn't available to come. Can you tell me where the towers are going to be placed, and are they shaped like a cone, like the ones that they described that were going to be on Highway 20 a couple of years ago?
This is not placing a tower, this is for any future towers.
Okay, so this is not about placing a tower at this time.
That's correct.
Okay, but were you discussing placing a future tower, a tower in Clearlake at a future time? Because that was my understanding.
Yeah, this is an ordinance to govern the placing of towers in the future.
Okay, but you haven't decided where those the tower or those towers will be
We don't.
placed. You don't get to choose that.
The only ones now have already been approved.
Say that again, please. It's hard for me to hear you.
I beg your pardon?
Would you talk a little louder? It's hard for me to hear you.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I just got to get closer. The applications that we have before us that have come before the Planning Commission have been approved. We don't have any active applications before us right now that have not already been approved. This came about because we were getting applications and we wanted to have a more consistent type of approach to how these were going to be handled, because there was no ordinance in place. So that's what this is putting in an ordinance that will apply to all future applicants.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you're not currently dealing with an applicant. You're just dealing with the ordinance that will govern.
Correct. This is just an
the
ordinance.
towers. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, the last one that was approved for monopine.
That's what I was talking about.
Okay, you said cone, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, I did this because I wasn't sure what it was called.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, there's language in here for monopine.
But that's not what this ordinance is about.
Right, exactly.
No.
So this ordinance has nothing to do with that particular type of structure?
Well, it addresses it in a way that it has to be aesthetically satisfactory.
Okay.
But it's not, we're not approving a particular,
Style or type?
that's correct.
Okay. I was just trying to get some clarification because I haven't been able to come to the meetings. And I wanted to come and find out exactly what was going on, because there was some mention of the cell towers at the last city council meeting.
Right.
And
Then it has to go back to the planning commission for our review, and then we forward it to the city council for final approval, as far as the ordinance goes.
Okay, I think I got a little more clear on that now. Thank you, Carl.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Price.
just a response for
Akira?
Just a response. We encourage you to take a look at the ordinance, and we certainly, the public review is still occurring. And if the planning commission does recommend approval tonight, They would be going to the city council at their next meeting, which is next week. So we would like you to take a look at the regulations and give us any input you have. They're also available on the city's website, and just take a look at them. We are probably going to make some changes tonight to them, pretty minor, but we would ask you to talk to Julie. If you have some comments, we'd love to hear them. I just want to make sure you do that.
Chuck Leonard, City of Clearlake. I think this is something that's well needed. Obviously, we have to have a lot of cell coverage now. People are discontinuing their landlines and going to cell coverage. And in emergency situations, you got to have coverage everywhere. It's a giant problem going out on Highway 20 for Caltrans to try to put their emergency boxes in where they can get cell service. They have to more or less find out what the cell service is, then find out to go ahead and put the boxes in. But I think the thing, we have to have it, and it's just fine.
Thank you. Anyone else? Back to the commission. Any questions from the commissioners? Do we have a motion?
I'll move that we adopt resolution PC 2015-06 to amend the zoning ordinance ZOGOA 2015-01 for wireless regulations.
With those changes noted earlier?
With the changes noted.
Yes, second.
I'll second.
Is there any more comments? I should have closed the public hearing before I did this. Anyway, I will close the public hearing now. We have a motion before us and a second. Comments from commissioners? Julie, can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Slotin?
Aye.
Commissioner Antis?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Hutchinson?
Aye.
Chairperson Webb?
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. One commissioner absent.
Thank you.
Good job. Dick, you put a lot of work into this.
Oh, well, it's been,
I know some of it's boilerplate, but not all of it.
it's been a collaboration with all the staff and the city attorney, and so thank you very much.
Well, I like the look of the monoplane. My daughter lives up in Placer County. And I remember when I first saw it, it looked like a really funny looking pine tree, and I asked her, why do they grow that way up here? And that's when she told me it was a cell tower. And it blends in with the background. I was just really surprised at how nice they look, I'm not sure, I didn't ask. Probably be safer than a regular tree.
Do we have anything from the city manager tonight?
Just one thing, and it's because I can't recall if I've already mentioned this to you or not. We have received an application from Walmart. Have I talked to you guys about that at all? Okay. A couple of weeks ago, we did receive an application for the expansion of the Walmart project, so we're in the process of processing that now. We do have a contract with Gary to handle that from the city staff point of view, so that's something that over time is going to be coming to you. They are in the process of, well, we are in the process of working on an environmental impact report for that. Anything to add with that, Gary?
Yeah, just that we talked a little bit today about putting some kind of an update on the website. If people ask about it, the idea is to make it simple and all the information there for all of you, so that they can go to the website and find out about it.
Yeah, so we'll be having that up shortly.
One of the things that maybe you can enlighten me a little bit on, I'm really concerned about the fire and the danger in the avenues. Is there anything that we can do, because there's still a tremendous amount of fuel in that area, coming up to the avenues as well as in between the occupied lots and everything right now, and it's extremely dangerous. Is there anything that the planning commission change or anything, our zoning or anything you can think of that we could do to make that a safer place to live?
I don't know necessarily, unless Gary's got some ideas on what the planning commission can do. Individual citizens can do a lot to make it safer in those areas. They can keep their properties free of debris, extraneous dead weeds and dead trees and all those types of things. You know, the fire department asks for people to have 100 feet of defensible space outside of their homes, so they can do that. But there are a lot of properties that have just debris, and we're trying to address that through code enforcement.
Well, one of the problems is you got 50 by 100 foot lots.
Right.
So they can't put 100 defensible feet
right.
between them and the debris.
But if you've got weeds that are up to here,
yeah,
you should abate those and take them down.
And also, if I might interject, yes. We've actually, the city was the first city in California that developed a new safety element in the general plan, which addresses new legislation on dealing with CAL FIRE and other fire agencies in the state and federal government. So the general plan is going to have some fairly sophisticated policies on dealing with future development and how we proceed with that. And in our zoning code, which we're going to be updating, we'll be doing some implementation of that. So there's certainly things we can do in terms of fire breaks for new development and, and how to address the high-risk fire dangers that the city is. And, it's kind of interesting that we were developing that right before the fire started. So I think it's something for all of us to have a greater sensitivity to, and look forward to putting some regulations that address that.
Well, whatever we can do, this is the time to do it, while it's fresh in everybody's mind as to how close that came to being a true disaster. It was bad enough as it was, but it could have been a whole lot worse. So if anybody's got any ideas, come into city staff and talk to them to see if we can get something worked out. Anybody have anything else?
Yeah, I have one issue. Great. The Highlands Park project, is there a status on that? Is the contract been let for the master plan?
Yeah, you're talking about the Highlands Park master plan
Yes.
project. We're meeting with the, Forest Hill Associates, I believe is what? Foothill Associates. We're meeting with them this Thursday at 1 o'clock. If there are anybody who's interested in meeting with them as well, we're going to, after our initial meeting, we're going to go out to Highlands Park and kind of walk it with them. So if there's any interested parties, we'd be happy to have you come out.
Because they're just going to do the one park right now?
Yeah, at first we're going to start off with Highlands Park. The next one we're going to do is Austin Park Master Plan. We're holding off a little bit on Redbud just because we are trying to figure out if we're going to be acquiring a couple of extra properties out there or not, because that would make a difference on how the master plan would lay out. So once we determine that, then we'll go with that. We're holding off just a little bit on the Austin Park just to see how this first one goes, if we need to make any adjustments to our RFP to be more inclusive or something. But we're anticipating bringing that forward in the next probably 4 to 6 weeks.
What time are you going to be at Highlands?
Probably around 2 o'clock.
Around 2 o'clock, okay.
Yeah. Good.
Very good.
I've had experience with Foothill, and they're excellent. I've gotten several park master plans with them in other jurisdictions. I think you got a really well qualified consultant working on them.
Well, the meeting's over.
Could I just ask for clarification on the time, Thursday, please?
Well, you can talk to him right now.
Okay.
The meeting's over.